Yeah, I love dealing with users. Fortunately, in the last few years, when I worked for the schools, I got moved out of the area where they could even get to me because it was behind
Oh, nice.
doors and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, I was really nice to the users. Even though like my favorite one is that someone would they would get a new computer, set it up on their desk or whatever, and they could not figure out why it did not work. And like the mouse just doesn't work no matter what. Hook an external mouse to it. And it's a really it's not a great idea, but honestly, a USB connection and an RJ45 port are the same size.
Yeah.
And will fit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened at least once a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's more often than I would have thought.
yeah.
I've always
you're talking 1,000+ people.
Yeah.
I've always
Yeah.
struggled a little bit with people not understanding basics like plugging things in. The reason being
Yeah.
is ever since I was a little
Reboot.
kid, I like to take electronics apart. I want to
Mhm.
understand how they work. I want to know what plug did what. I mean,
Yeah.
since I was like 5.
Right.
And then there's people who are 40 years old who can't, and I'm not trying to be critical, but they can't do it. I mean, they look at it and they're like, I don't know what to do. I need help. I'm like,
Yeah, it's like it didn't work. Try another hole.
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
IT is there to help you, and we will help you, but you got to kind of meet us in the middle and make an effort, especially if it's a large organization and your IT staff is small.
Yeah, and the schools are that way most definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, the some of the user stories are just nightmarish. Like my favorite one was that at one point we had an IT teacher who couldn't figure out how to make something work on the core server for the building. So he gave the password to a student to try and have him figure out what to do.
Oh.
Okay.
I
don't see the
I don't see any problem with
See the
that.
problem.
That's awesome.
Magically, things didn't work.
Let's
after
just
that.
make all the passwords password now. It's easier than
Oh,
changing
yeah.
passwords.
Or just
Yeah.
go after them entirely.
Well, that was in Novell 4.1, I think it was.
No.
Novell. We have fond memories of Novell.
No, we don't.
I honestly
Yeah.
never have worked with it in my career. I had used it in school.
Yeah, well, we
And
had,
played with it and learned about it.
Yeah, prior to 2003, we had Novell, and it was actually compared
It did its job.
compared to NT and like NT. What was it? NT 4 was the
NT4.
last one.
Yep.
With that, and then it moved to Windows 2000.
Sure.
Even with 2000, it was still competing well with 2000. When
Yeah.
2003
Was it
started-
really? Even with Active Directory?
Even with Active Directory, because it was still very primitive at that point. Once you
That's
hit
true.
03 server, though,
Yeah, that was a whole
yeah,
different
Novell, it really changed everything.
Yeah.
I think
'cause
Novell
03 was
ran
lot
for a
better.
while on inertia too, because it was a known
So many people had
thing.
it. Yeah.
Well, the companies I worked at starting in 08 still they had just come off of Novell and went to Server 2003 R2.
Yeah.
But a lot of their client computers still had the Novell client. You could log in because you could
Oh,
just
yeah.
tell it's logged
Oh,
its
yeah.
Windows credentials and then you
Yeah.
could use Active Directory. But it took us a little while to weed all those out over time. We didn't actively go try to uninstall the client. It wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah, and it would just sit there, and you could actually either at the same time. Yeah, because it was prior to 03, we were still running that. And then once we got 03, it was done. Well, we actually moved from Novell to VMware.
Oh, yeah.
And then 03, and Novell ran on top of VMware for a while. It really of course just kind of was dying. It was
Sure,
Windows
sure.
6.5, I think it was, and it was dying. Very merciful death at that point. Yeah, it was nice that the one thing I did love about Novell 4, except for hardware failures, you could basically get the thing together, put it in a room, and brick over the door.
Just
You never
mess
had to
with
touch
it, yeah.
Yeah.
It ran. It
So
honestly,
before security patches were a thing too, to
Yeah,
the extent
yeah.
where it's a
well,
constant
yeah.
battle today.
And you didn't have some of the joy stuff that they're like ransomware.
Yeah, no doubt.
And users who think they won the Nigerian national lottery every week. Yeah.
Mhm.
That comes to a point I make often in my various jobs, and that is that security. I think security's taking a little bit of the fun out of IT. I think it is putting so much
Yes.
effort.
Oh,
And there's
God.
people who they just are all into IT security, and that's their thing,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I came from a world where it was fun to work with a computer, and you had to do things that were experimental with it. to which you had to have more than user level access.
Mm.
And now you have to enter 15 logins
Oh,
and have
geez.
certs and pre-shared keys
Oh,
to turn the computer on in some instances.
no kidding. Well, yeah.
I understand it's necessary, but it doesn't mean I have to enjoy it.
Yeah, the security level you deal with being in the banking industry is a little bit higher than I
It's
deal with
the
now.
highest I have worked in so far, and that includes
Yeah.
working with the federal government. It's
Yeah.
higher than theirs. So it really is.
And ours is, I mean, where I'm at now, we have HIPAA concerns, but
Sure.
not the
Yeah.
security concerns. We still have, it's still ridiculous the fact that I have to go to someone's desk, type in my username and password for them to put a mouse on the computer. I've been
Yeah.
turning that off when I can.
We're not
but
quite that locked down.
That's just, but the stupidest thing is they can do it like 1,000 other things. It's like horribly dangerous.
Yeah,
But-
right.
But that's
That's
we've
misguided
locked that.
security policy
Oh my
there.
god,
Yeah.
I had a mouse. I'm like,
Better not be a wireless mouse.
You know, I remember when that was a concern.
Some people
Wireless
still
can be
is.
seen,
Some people
yeah.
still
Yeah.
feel like that it's a attack vector. but I
Yeah,
don't know how.
in a metal building in the middle of nowhere. How is this? Yeah, well, yeah.
yeah,
But in
it-
theory,
but
well, we could be hacked by North Korea. They'll send a guy. He'll stand outside the building with a really big antenna, trying to see what you're typing.
and he'll say, "I'm just fox hunting."
"There you go."
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's what
they'll be like, "What's that?" We'll explain that in the future.
it's a ham radio thing, not an actual hunting thing. Just
No
for the
real
record,
foxes.
No real foxes. We use
Gray-haired
transmitters, yeah.
gray-haired old guys mostly,
Simplistically, it's a
And
transmitter hunt's what it is. But
and us.
yeah,
We're three old tech dudes. We're not sure if that means we're old. If we like old tech, it's a little of both because we're really just middle aged. But anyway, so.
Well, yeah.
But
Yeah.
Uh,
I like you can see some little stuff.
oh yeah,
'Cause I've got
great background for us here.
yeah, like that's from I think the 1960s.
I have nearly the same one. I think mine's missing the center knob, and it's more green.
This one before I realized I needed to put the 3-prong plug because apparently ground was not a thing. Earth is something you need because you could really draw an arc off the
I
ground.
bet.
Not so bad now, but it's still kind of one of those like, wow, yeah, that's a fun little spark. Yeah.
Well, I have one good IT war story, and this one's probably my favorite, and it's also the most angry I've ever been in my working career.
Ooh. Who died?
I wanted somebody terminated, but that didn't happen because IT was not respected here like it should have been.
Goodness.
I have feelings, and it's been years. Anyway,
I guess.
I'm still sorting this out inside.
Wow.
Ooh.
So I worked for a group of companies that were very large. Some of you watching work for them and worked with me, and I'm sorry in advance. But your companies care more about engineers and cheap labor than they do their IT department.
That's
that was
unfortunately.
mean.
That-
But
that
it actually
happens
was
a
true.
lot.
I actually started this IT department as the first hire, and I'm pretty sure that was a grudging hire. They didn't want IT because it's an overhead cost to them.
Oh yeah. Everyone always treats it like that until they need something done.
But I was managing 3 companies, but was expected to be on time at all times, and there were probably 250 users total. It was not small, and I was the only one most of the time. You ever feel like you've dug a hole you shouldn't have on video? Don't cut this out. I think it needs said.
Okay, I'm good with that.
But there was these laptops that were used to connect automation. They're very important to keeping this particular plant running. And I had to update the software on one of them. I had it locked in the server room, which at the time was serving as my office. And I got a phone call one morning. I was going out the door, and I didn't make it to answer it, and they didn't leave voicemail. So I drove to work, thought I'd see what was going on. Now, this plant uses lots of CNC machines, great big ones. And they use basically antifreeze to cool the parts as they go, so it's always got a mist in the air. It's really hard on computers. We would lose computers to fans failing more than anything if it got too hot. I mean, they would run. You wouldn't believe it. Dell desktop will run with like a half-inch thick gel on the components. I mean, they would just torment it. We could still get 2 or 3 years out of them. I have a pretty good respect for Dell Optiplex desktops, but they're tough.
That's we used to buy those.
So I get to work, and I have to keep this place running 24 hours a day, 3 shifts. It has data collection that affects production on the machining centers. If they go down, who'd they call? Me. You know, I got called on my kids' birthday parties, you name it. You have to get in here. We can't ship the truck. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And
That didn't make you bitter at all.
Yeah,
Sadly enough.
I learned a lot of hard lessons. And they all just think I'm pretty sure they all just thought I was lazy and useless, and really, it's like, well, how much more can I give you people? I've already sold my soul to you. But anyway, I go in, and keep in mind, I have a whole rack of important servers. I slept on that floor, actually, in another story that we may or may not have time for. But I go in, and the server room door, which was not an appropriate door, it was lucky I had a server room at all, because it was that disrespected, had all of the hinge pins removed. And the door was laying against the wall, and that whole room had been sucking coolant for at least an hour. I walked in the door, took one look, threw down my bag, and screamed at the top of my lungs across that plant, "Who did this?" No answers. It was like that. So I finally figured out who did it, and it was somebody after that laptop that couldn't wait for me to go get somebody to unlock the key.
Yeah.
That was the most disrespectful I've felt in my career. It was, we'll just take the door off.
There you go.
And I go in, I want somebody wrote up. Once I figure out who it was, I'm going to mention them here because we actually became okay friends later. Not sure I ever got over that. But. So I go looking, and
It was not us.
It wasn't. And I highly ask anybody would watch this video. I don't think we're on social media connected or anything. I go and I start putting the door up, and some lady over at Quality is going to the other guy, "Go help him!" I'm like, "I've got it!" So I put this door back up on its hinges myself and slam it shut. The guy who removed its tools were there, not for long, because I flung them across the room as hard as I could. They went under pallets and everything else in the production area.
Man.
That was probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm still mad about it. I need
So
to
if
just
you want to help Tim
move
get
on.
anger management classes, we're good.
My anger management was to start looking for a job and find the correct pay scale that I finally got paid. But I heard they paid people better later, but I was not privy to that. So
Yeah, well, yeah, that's.
I wish them luck, but I'm not sure about how they treat people.
You know, I think the only time I've ever heard that much anger in your voice, other than this
You should have
story,
seen me then.
was
I was fit to be tied. So I could have a heart attack.
So Tim and I usually talk back and forth via our amateur radios. We do what's called simplex between our two vehicles. And he got stuck behind a tractor one day. And he was already running late. I think you had to go get your son to
marching band practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
The way my wife and I have
And
on schedule, I
he
can leave
got
work to get there
stuck.
just in time.
He
Except
got
that day.
stuck behind this tractor, and you could just hear the anger every time he keyed up.
So you drive down a state highway next to one of the biggest employers in the state and hold up traffic for 5 or 6 miles without pulling over, let it around.
Oh, jeez.
I get it. We share the roads with farmers and they're important, but come on. I grew up driving tractors. I'd get it over for one car if I could.
Oh,
Huh.
yeah, that's always fun.